Hello, and welcome back to Geek on My Sleeve Book Dragons. Today we are doing a August TBR or to be read so that you guys can read them and join us for the live stream, of which is also called a Geek Out, where we geek out about the books with you guys because you're going to read them and join us for the live stream. Roll the intro. And so, quick rundown of all of them. August 2nd, we have the Ritualist, which is the first book in the Completionist Chronicles by Dakota Kraut, narrated by Vicus Adam. And then August 9th, we have Star Wars The Old Republic Fatal Alliance with Sean Williams, narrated by Mark Thompson. Then August 16th, we have Mistborn Heroes of Ages, the third book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, narrated by Michael Kramer. August 23rd, Life Reset number 4, which is known as Human Resource. It is the fourth book in the Life Reset franchise by Shamir Kuznick, narrated by Jeff Hayes, Annie Ellicott, and Lori Catherine Winkle. August 30th, we have Words of Radiance, Book 2 in the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson, narrated by Michael Kramer and Kate Redding. And so now we're going to give you kind of a synopsis of each book and or what we know. All right, so first book here, The Ritualist. So we just finished on the channel the Divine Dungeon series, and The Ritualist or the Completionist Chronicles is a great standalone. But if you have also finished the Divine Dungeon series, it has Easter eggs galore, and it just makes it that much more enjoyable for me. It is a bit different. It is a lit RPG where Divine Dungeon kind of was, but it didn't really have the stats or the equipment element, where this is like a full dive for lit RPG. A paramedic who is stationed overseas gets his helicopter shot down, becomes a quadriplegic, essentially can only move his neck, has someone approach him who he used to work with, who is now with a game company, and essentially gets input into the game. And yeah, it's very realistic. There's a lot of RPG aspects or lit RPG aspects, all the Easter eggs and memes you could want. Yeah, I'm a big fan of.
You certainly get those Dakota Kraut puns that if you've read The Divine Dungeon, you're used to as humor. Um, I agree with you. The Completionist Chronicles can certainly be read alone, and if you're really on the fence, while I would encourage you to go and read The Divine Dungeon, I feel confident that you could read the Completion Chronicles first on its own, but you just get so much more from the story by having the Divine Dungeon under your belt, right, Pete?
Yeah, and it's very subtle. Like I said, it's an Easter egg. Like, an Easter egg typically is one of those like, aha, or I knew it, or oh, I know where that's from kind of moments. It's not something that would make or break the immersion or the storytelling as a whole.
Yeah, as Pete said, we are really excited to get in and start geeking out over the Ritualist series. The video game element itself is really interesting and unique, and how they have everything set up, and just the scaling with the magic and the leveling and just all those unique features makes it a lot of fun. All right. So, Star Wars The Old Republic Fatal Alliance. This is a book that I read a long time ago, but I'm looking forward to coming back to it. If you're a fan of Star Wars, this one takes place pretty much 3,500 years before Darth Vader. If you play the Knights of the Old Republic or BioWare and LucasArts collab to make Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic video game MMORPG. Peter and I both played it. A number of our friends played it. It was the first MMORPG that came out that had like all its own cinematics and everything for the storyline. I'm a huge fan of this audiobook. If you're interested in it, they bring a lot of the Star Wars sound effects into the Audible story, which is just so much fun, gives you those feels, and yeah, it kind of helps you kind of get the history of the traditional what is now 9 movies that we have out. So way back before it get kind of that old school lore there, and it's just a whole lot of fun. Looking forward to geeking out and getting Pete to give it a shot, as well as talk about it with some of our other friends. And then after doing week 1 with a lit RPG, week 2 with a sci-fi slash Star Wars story, we go back to Mistborn Heroes of Aegis, August 16th. All these on Sunday. And yeah, pretty much finishing out the first era for Mistborn. Cannot recommend this series enough. Let's see, is about to say like don't want to get into too much spoilers in case you guys haven't read the first couple books, but yeah, it's an incredible series. We're really trying to play in the Cosmere a lot more, so by getting first era out of the way under our belt, um, huge step in the right direction. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun talking to some of our other friends as they finish up this series. You guys still have some time to get through the first 2 books, and then we'll do the third one and just wrap up the whole first era. Yes, yes. Go check out our spoiler-free reviews of the earlier books, and we do our best trying not to ruin anything for you, yet give you enough there. Brandon Sanderson, known for his magic system, writes incredible characters, is just a masterwork at foreshadowing and giving you enough of the information, just paint this incredible picture, and then you get to the end and you're just like, wow, what happened? Like now I see all the pieces there and it makes sense, but yes, wow, the feels from this trilogy. Can't wait to get into that. And then week 4, August 23rd, we go back and play in one of Peter's favorite spaces, Lit RPG, and finally, finally, Life Reset Book 4, Human Resources of the New Era Online Series by Shamir Kuzniks is out on Audible. So we can realistically actually get through it, because if you're relying on us to sit down and read a physical book, you'll be waiting a while. We're able to listen to books when we do other things, um, at 2.5, 3x speed. So that's how we're able to get through a couple books every week. But if I want to go and coin push and slay dragons, or all hail our green overlord in Life Reset Book 4, we got to do it on audio. And Peter has sung his praises of the sound booth crew, Jeff Hayes, Annie Elcott. I don't know if we've heard anything from Lori Catherine Winkle, but definitely the first 2. And yeah, this Lit RPG series, if you haven't checked it out, is a whole lot of fun. Pretty much uh, the elite of the elite, the head of the best guild, gets screwed over by his number 2 man, who's trying to take over the guild and pretty much turns him into a goblin. And the only way to not be a goblin is to delete his character and reset and re-roll. And instead of doing that, he decides, screw this, I'm not going to re-roll. And part of the reason why they want him to re-roll his character is because they want to get his unique spell abilities and some stuff bound to his character. And once he deletes it, those would go to the other guys in the guild. But he's like, no, no. And we get to book 4 where he's kind of like built his settlement, right? It's more of a settlement builder lit RPG as opposed to the traditional RPG.
It's unique on the lit RPG flavor because instead of like just trapped in the world, it's also something that no one else has done. He's playing as a monster race, which at the time is not available, is not a thing. A lot of his obscure trivia knowledge about the game is helpful, but it's not really relevant. And then there's a lot of cool time dilation factors that, I enjoy just because I tend to dilate time in my own space-time continuum.
We frame jack. It's a thing. It's the only way we can get more time out of the day. And then for week 5, because we're just that lucky in the month of August, we are going to be doing um, every month one Stormlight archive book. Probably going to be the last week of every month. They're big books, give you guys to get time to get to them, but August 30th, Words of Radiance, the Stormlight Archive Book 2 by Brandon Sanderson, narrated by Michael Kramer and Kate Reading. And yeah, commonly referred to as people's favorite epic fantasy series.
This one's a little complicated. Like, I love Brandon Sanderson. This book is quite beefy. It did take me a little while to kind of assimilate all the different things. In this one, just because of how big it is, we follow several different viewpoints as I'm re listening to the first one at the moment. And yeah, it is phenomenal. It is amazing for magic and world building and everything else, but it is definitely a beefy book.
It's a huge world too. And as we go through and we listen to some of these other books, um, they have whole unique worlds, but you just follow a tiny little part of that world, right? Just like a little sliver. And then you have the Stormlight Archive where it's you follow multiple viewpoints, and typically each book kind of has a central focus of a character, but then you still follow all these other characters as well, right? Like we're re-listening to the first one, getting ready as we're shooting this for that upcoming Geek Out of book 1 of the Stormlight Archive. This one focuses a little bit more on Kaladin. The second one, I believe, focuses on Shalon. But we follow all these different characters all over Roshar, and it's just an incredible story with incredible characters, and you get to follow them on these journeys, right? And you get to see their growth and development. And we talk about all the time on this channel where there's so much takeaways from the stories that we read. And for me, the Stormlight Archive has so much real life takeaways for me. Waste too much time on Reddit, and I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people come out and say, wow, like in one way or another, this book has impacted me, or like saved my life, or et cetera, getting a bit deep there.
Well, I mean, that's a great thing about this book is it takes people from all different walks of life, so to speak, and it digs deep into him because like example for a general, he's got to be shown as authoritative and knows what he's talking about and has a direction. And then the lowest peon, the uh, random thought, dishwasher, and yeah, he's just a dishwasher, so he's not worth jack, but he's got his own life and his own trials and tribulations and different things that he goes through. And then kind of like if you're already at the top, where do you go? But then if you're at the bottom, yeah, you're at the bottom, but you have a chance to succeed. And then what? Beepity beep magic, and anyone can be anything. So
Beepity beep magic, which, as we said, Brandon Sanderson is known for going to try to get to one of these books every month and get ready for book 4 come November. So, yeah, if you haven't picked up this series, now is the time, because you got a couple months to get current, do the buddy read with us, enjoy the Stormlight archive, journey before destination, my fellow book dragons, and yeah, hope to geek out with you guys here soon.